Hi Overwatch Practice Group, this is Viper759 and this video is going to cover crosshair setup and how you can also practice your aim, tune your aim and practice it. Because aim is obviously more than just, there's a lot involved with like sensitivity and ergonomics. But let's start with your crosshair. So you go to options and then you go to controls. There is actually a control section here for your reticule. This is the crosshair I use. It's a very simple, tight little T. You've got some different options. One thing you want to turn off is show accuracy. You can adjust, of course, adjust the color to whatever you want it to be. I prefer to make it something that stands out very well against the highlight colors of enemies. The thickness will adjust how thick the lines are. I personally prefer to use as small as a crosshair you can reasonably use. This center gap is something that you should have off or down to 0 if possible, because then you can see exactly where your point is. The show accuracy you want off because what it will do is as you fire, it will spread the crosshair to show you that you're getting less accurate. But you can really determine that on your own, and this will actually throw you off on many champions like Soldier 76 and other ones. You can have a dot in the center of this if you want. I have mine turned off. This is another important thing. Scale with resolution. I turn this off just because I want this crosshair to be kind of the same size relative to my screen and material of the res. So that's your crosshair. This is actually a really important thing, having a good crosshair that you can track easily. One of the things that you can do to help with that is under video, there's a options here called colorblind options, and you can change the UI colors of enemies and friendlies, which you can see I have done that, and black looks really good against these. So that covers the crosshair. So let's go into how you do your practice. What you can do this is to tweak your aim and get everything tuned and to warm up before you go into matches. So you're going to go to, I'm sorry, I kind of got to hit myself there. You're going to go to play and then game browser and then hit create. Then you go up here to settings, and we have to set these up the first time, and then we can save this as a preset. So the first thing to do is go into the lobby and set our team size as 4 on team 1 and 2 on team 2. We want to turn off swap teams after match, and we want it to have team balancing is off by default. Good. Alright, and we return to library. We want to set return to lobby after a game, and map rotation can be after a game. That's fine too. Alright, now we'll go here to our maps. We're going to set none, and on oh, I missed it. I'm sorry. We want assault Anubis. Here we go. Temple of Anubis. So now we're going to go to our heroes. Basically what you're doing is you're saying it will always come up on the same map that way. So the first thing we're going to do on heroes, we're going to go to general. We're going to select our team, and we're going to set our ability cooldown times, which will be on team 2 for perspective. So we're going to select team 2. We're going to set the ability cool times down to 0. The ultimate generation up to really high here, 500, and spawn with ultimate enabled ready. We don't really have to worry about any of the other things here, but this will basically allow us to, if you're practicing with abilities like Anna's Sleep Dart, you'll be able to just do it over and over again. Alright, so now we're going to go to the bot we will use, May, and we're going to do for all teams, which if you're practicing with May, like her ice shots or something, then you want to use a different bot for this. Obviously, Lucio's a really good one, and we actually do these both on Lucio or May, so you have a choice to what to work with. But you're going to go in and disable some of these abilities here. We want to disable her primary fire, her secondary fire. So basically now she doesn't have any abilities and she can't fire a weapon, or the Maybots can't. Depending on the difficulty one, you can adjust this health. I'm going to leave it at 100% for this video, but you can obviously go all the way up to 500% for more of a challenge. Okay. And the other ones we're going to do that, other bot we'll do that with is as well Lucio. Now in this case, I'm just putting it as Team 1 because sometimes I obviously play Lucio to practice. I'm disabling his abilities here for Team 1. Okay. So now I've got the heroes set up. So now we're going to save this preset and give it a name. In this case, I'm just going to call it Aim Practice Example. So the next time we want to use this, I'm going to show you how to bring it up now. I'm going to leave this game. So go back to Create Game, just like I did before, and go to Settings again. And this time I go to Presets, and I have my Aim Practice Example preset here that I can click on, and it will immediately load this up. So I need to swap me to the red team. I just do that by right-clicking, and now we add AI to it. So we're going to choose the Maybots, since that's the ones that we have. And we're going to add 4 to Team 1. And we're going to add 1 to Team 2. It really doesn't matter difficulty. Okay, so we'll start. At this point, it'll start like a normal match. Now, what's going to happen here is the bots are going to move around, and they are actually going to very aggressively circle strafe and do things like that, but they won't fire, which will give you a good chance to work on your tracking. For that reason, you should choose a character that's going to require you to really focus on your aim. So for example, if you're a diva main or something like that, this really wouldn't be the play. That you would want to pick something like Soldier. You'd want to pick something that's going to require you to be really accurate. Soldier is a good example. Baptiste, Anna, champions like that. If you're practicing Sniper, you can obviously do Widowmaker. But in general, you want to choose someone who's going to require you to be accurate to hit shots. So while I'm waiting for the prepare to attack, what I do like to do is just warm up my aim by finding a small point like this and actually moving my mouse between these 2 points like that, like back and forth. What I'm actually doing is I'm helping just reinforce my my muscle memory at this point on being able to move small distances, and then I also do some diagonal. And I'm going for accuracy here because I'm just working on muscle memory. When you need to do it fast, you'll be able to do it. Alright. So you can see I spawned it with my ult, and my abilities are instant. So if I did need to practice some abilities here like Helix Rocket, if I was trying to practice that, I could. So let's get started here. So what you're going to look for is your aim, whenever you initially target a bot, is your aim too far forward, or are you under aiming or over aiming? So under aiming is where you come in too early, like I'm doing right now, and then you have to overcompensate and you pull over too far. Over aiming is where you go too far and then you have to come back in. And what you want to do, as you figure out what those are, is if you are under aiming, go into your options and go into your sensitivity and increase it slightly. If you're under aiming, you increase your sensitivity slightly by like say 0.1 at a time until you're not under aiming anymore. If you're over aiming, you decrease your sensitivity by 0.1 at a time until you're not over aiming anymore. And you can also, between just shooting, you could just try to track a bot here, like I'm doing right here. What this tracking, whenever you're shooting, you want to try to shoot one Maybot. Like what I'm going to do here is just try for this Maybot, and you'll see what I'm doing is avoiding the others' fields of fire. The reason for that is I'm trying to get in the skill of being able to track a target in the middle of a team fight. If you can learn to track Maybots here, when there's a team fight going on, you'll be perfectly fine. So that's one thing. And if you want to do this as a Widow, you don't have to stand close. You can go up to a spot like up there. on the ridge line or here or anywhere you want, because the friendly Maybot will keep this contested. Now, you want to look at your accuracy as you're doing this and see, and ideally every time you practice your accuracy gets a little bit better, but this can help you see how your ergonomics are. So while doing this, if you notice, hey, you know, my arm doesn't feel right or my wrist hurts, try to adjust that. And do this a lot. Do this like 15 minutes straight and see how your wrist feels and your arm feels, because it should be comfortable after 15 minutes. So following that, the reason why we choose Anubis is this spot right here. You can actually work a lot on your circle tracking because all the bots stand around here. You can see here, I'm just kind of having to track them as they circle strafe a little bit. Although with the other Maybot here, they are not strafing as much as they normally do, apparently, today. Okay. So this is kind of the easy point to capture. Typically you can get this in 8 bots pretty quickly. And the next point is where you get to spend a little more time on the bots. And one thing you also want to start doing as you're practicing this is work on your situational awareness. So as you're going up against these bots, you're going to have to reload, obviously. And what you should get in the habit of doing is doing a 300, looking around when you reload. So when you reload, take a quick look behind you, and take a, get a situational awareness check. So what you want to do is start just same thing here. You're practicing against the bots. Pick one out, and try to track it. When you have to reload, take a quick look behind you, and then reacquire your target. What this will allow you to do in whenever you're actually playing a match is you will have much better situational awareness while also still being able to reacquire a target. And you're not wasting that reload time that way. See there, I was a little late on my timing. This is why I had to practice it. It also helps you get used to doing 180s. So you can see there, I now know there was a Maybot behind me because during the reload, I looked to see what's going on. I was a little slow on it that time, so I didn't get a good visual, but that's why you have to practice here. Now the color that you choose for enemies is important because one of the reasons I'm able to take a really quick look behind me like that when I reload is I'm not actually looking for a character model, I'm looking for a specific color. And I chose magenta because none of the maps have magenta. So if I see magenta behind me, I know there's an enemy, and I can very quickly determine that's the case. Anyways, that really concludes this this video, and I hope you find it useful.